I am pulled in on the side of the motorway on my way back to Galway from an amazing, lovely weekend in Leitrim with some really dear friends. A much needed break with no technology and no clocks and no pressure to do anything. It's been very refreshing. So that's why I'm a little bit late today. So I said today I was going to talk to you about the difference between attachment and connection. I had a very steep learning curve, sharp lesson in that myself last week, and that's why I'm talking about it today. So to give you a bit of background, last week I gave somebody a lot of time, which is quite precious to me and which I am pretty usually good about having boundaries around. But we gave her some time. We cleared our schedule for her to do some work, and also end up giving her some more tangible things. And by Thursday, I found myself getting quite angry and resentful because she wasn't using the time or the other things she'd been given in the way that I felt was appropriate. So then I had to have a talk with myself and found out that I was angry and resentful at myself because what I've been given to her obviously have been given with attachment, an expectation of how it was going to be used, and that is not the way you're supposed to give things to people. If I give somebody a gift, it needs to be freely given, whether that gift is time or something tangible or knowledge or expertise. And if I'm attached to it, then there's always going to be that expectation and that resentment if they don't use it the way I think it should be used. I can be connected to it because it was mine to give, but I can give it freely. And then over the weekend I had a completely opposite experience when somebody asked me to share some of my expertise, and there was a choice of saying this is what you should do in this situation, or which would attach me to it, or to say this is how we dealt with this situation. And it was almost like putting something on the table and asking them to help themselves to that information, which they did with absolutely no attachment, because it was my expertise and experience. There was definitely a connection to it, and at some point I will check in to see how that person got on with it, but I have no interest in how much they took of it, how they used it, or what results they got from that particular thing. So it was a completely different experience and a much nicer experience, I think, for everybody concerned. So my task for you this week is to just look and see where you are attached to other people's outcomes. So if you give somebody something, is it freely given? Or are you attached to how they use that thing, that knowledge, that expertise, that time? So it's an interesting question, and every day is a school day, and if you're willing to learn, these lessons will keep popping up until they are well and truly ingrained in you. And I obviously need to learn a bit about detachment this weekend or last week. So until Wednesday, beautiful souls, keep an eye on your attachment and your connection. It's good to be connected, but not to be attached. And as always, be kind and gentle, especially with yourselves and especially as you are learning things. No beating yourself up. Until Wednesday, be kind.